Hey guys and gals, before we get this party started, I just wanted to give a shout out to Epic Film Guys for doing this amazing cause. And cancer, it affects a lot of people, and to raise money for such a terrible thing in this world, and it takes so many people that we love. And when Epic Film Guys put out the word that they wanted people to do this, the first person I thought of was my grandmother, who was taken by cancer. And I knew right then and there, it's like, we have to do this, and we have to raise money for the Cancer Research Institute, and do what we can as human beings. And all right, so enough sadness. Let's get on with the show. Gorilla Brain.
It's showtime.
Stop eating my sesame cake! That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
There's no spoon.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
I got a bad feeling about this.
All right, and we have arrived for the 4th annual live stream for the cure. We are the Gorilla Brain podcast, and if this is your first time checking us out, I am your host, 8BitRay, and this is my co-host, well, no cool name for him, but Shawn.
Ooh, yo, what's up?
And it is going to be quite the lovely Friday, because we are going to be talking about nostalgia and how it affects Hollywood and how it affects us as fans. So, nostalgia. Now normally we would do the news or something like that, but we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes for you guys, because we only have such a limited time slot. So check it out. Nostalgia. Allow me to read the definition of nostalgia to everyone out there. A sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or a place with happy personal associations. Now, let's start off with our first feeling of nostalgia, since it's making news lately with Keanu Reeves and all that. The Matrix 4. No extra name, not a stupid name like Revolutions yeah, it is Revolutions. It's not Revelations. You always say that it's Revelations, Shawn. You always confuse me with that.
Always. But they don't have a name for it yet.
Yeah,
Give it time.
I'm sure that they're going to find something incredibly stupid for it.
Yes, I definitely think that. I miss the number system. I actually just liked when they used to just number it. It's part 3. There you go.
So I feel like the Matrix is actually just playing off the nostalgia, man. They're just trying to make, they're trying to make money off of 14 and 15-year-old Ray, and, I guess it would be 16-year-old Shawn, because you are a little bit older than I. So I think it's just trying to capitalize on that 1999 fame, because, you look at it and it's like the Matrix Reloaded wasn't exactly a success. Yes, it made money, but like you watch it now and it's like almost 20 years later, and it's just fucking ass, dude. Like, it doesn't hold up whatsoever. And then you watch Revolutions and then you just want to vomit out your asshole. And now they're going to do another Matrix movie. And I just don't understand why. Is it a nostalgia thing? Like, are they just trying to capitalize on younger me and you? Or are they going to completely re-envision it? Is it going to be a remake? I would take a fucking remake over a sequel at this point, honestly, but that franchise.
I wish it was actually a remake, because that, to me, that would make more sense. A sequel, I'm kind of like, I actually liked Reloaded. Not as a whole, but I like some of the action pieces in it so much that I do enjoy the movie when I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But it ends in such a mess with whatever part 3 was called.
They pretty much kill off fucking all the major characters. Is Neo dead? I'm not 100% sure on that. They kind of carry him off. You don't see him breathing or anything. You just see him in a big ball of light.
He's a cyborg now.
Okay. So
his consciousness exists in the Matrix, but he doesn't have a physical body anymore, so he can't leave the Matrix anymore.
Dude, I'm not even going to try to mentally figure out the Matrix Revolutions. It would break my brain, and then you would have another like 45 minutes of silence for this episode, and we can't have that. So we're not even going to attempt to break down Matrix Revolutions and Reloaded. Like that story is just so, like they threw in too
But
much shit, way too
but that's
much.
kind of my point, though. Like, it's such a bloated mess, and it
Mhm.
is. Like I said, there's some good bits in two, but it's such a bloated mess as a whole. It's kind of like, wouldn't it make more sense to just completely start over? Plus, it's been, yeah, I know, almost 20 years. Like, come on now, why look? Why go back to that and try to make something work when you could just start over, just do something different. You
Now
know,
I'm a fan of having nostalgia played with. Like, if you want to tap into my childhood, that's fine and dandy, whatever. Like Ready Player One completely did it right. Like they played my nostalgia fiddle and they played a fucking symphony. I loved it. Every second of Ready Player One I absolutely adored. But there's ways to do nostalgia properly, and then there's I don't even know how to explain it. Like maybe greedy nostalgia. Like
well, that's
you're just trying to make a buck.
that's because in Ready Player One, you get a lot of callbacks and a lot of throwbacks, but it actually made sense in the contents of the movie. It's a virtual reality space, and
Mhm.
these people use avatars. Just like now with people who mod games, you'll like to use your favorite characters from different things, whether it's Mario, Kratos, Tracer, whoever. So like it made sense in that film. Like, yeah, people would actually do that. So that's cool that that's Tracer and there's Scorpion and whoever. Like
Now,
that
my
makes
my
sense.
personal avatar would probably be Laura Croft with the square tits. I'm a big proprietor of the square tits. I've yet to find a woman with square tits, but if I do, I hope her name's Laura.
You could probably rename her or make one.
Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and make one. But go on with your point. Go on with your point.
But yeah, like I said, it actually, it worked all the way the avatars worked. Everybody you wanted to see made sense in the film. And then even when they went to the creator of I forget the name of the space that they're in, but they went
Not
to his favorite
not the
movie.
Matrix.
Yeah, I can't think of the name. The Oasis. When they go in the
Yeah, yeah.
Oasis, they went to the creator's favorite movie in The Shining, and even that was really cool. They played all the beats right, but then they did enough to make it made sense of the content of the story, and it throwed back. It wasn't like jarring, like, okay, well, we know people like this, so this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
It's mm,
and you also look at it like there's also remakes that are literally like word for word remakes. Like you look at some of these live action Disney movies, man, and it's like like The Lion King was almost scene for scene, word for word, except with live action animals. Like what exactly did you do differently?
that's the other weird thing I don't get about that. So they're obviously cranking up the nostalgia. That's the whole point of remaking all these animated classics to get people in. But I also kind of feel like it's weird because they're making these live action. So they take the old movie, live action, so it's new, but they don't make animated movies anymore. So it's like you want the nostalgia of movies people like, but you don't think animation is worth your time anymore. And I just find that strange
But
as
it's
a fan.
also but it's also a way to get the adults in with their kids. Like, oh, I love this when I was a kid. So we're gonna go see the fucking Lion King. And then the kid's like, oh, but I really want to go see that. And then they're getting double the money. I think that is the only way they're making any money off of this is off of the parenting bond.
At least at least with stuff like Aladdin, I could get more behind it. Like, okay, Aladdin's fairly simple, even though there was no giant snake. I thought that was kind of dumb, but whatever. I can get behind it doing that live action. But you do a movie that involves animals singing and dancing and showing emotion, and then you make it 100% photorealistic, knowing that these animals can't show the emotions.
Right.
So it just comes off as kind of dumb. And a $1 billion corporation that you could think of, like it never occurred to anybody, like maybe we shouldn't go this way.
Dude, then that's another thing. It's like, okay, it's not just remakes and things like that, but it's also sequels. Disney had Star Wars and they made that garbage ass, and I'm not trying to be negative on it. I mean, I see some good things in it, but it's quite awful. and it completely played on your nostalgia. Force Awakens was nostalgia trip 101. Okay, you're bringing in Han, you're bringing in Luke for half a second. You know, you got Leia coming back, you got Chewie coming back, and that's all to play to your nostalgia. That gets your ass in the theater. And you know what? It worked. It worked once on me. I don't know about you. How many times did you see that in the theater?
I didn't have Movie Pass yet, so I only saw it. I think two. I think I saw it 2 or 3 times.
Okay,
But
so
I
they got triple
really,
the money off of your nostalgia.
but
You are contributing to the fucking problem. You understand that, right?
I liked Force Awakens, and I get they did do A New Hope. They did, but I understood it with Force Awakens though, because they tried something different with the prequel trilogy, and your feelings on them aside, they didn't go over so well. So it kind of makes sense to me that like Disney's like, okay, we're gonna do Star Wars. We brought the property. Let's take the safe bet. And so I kind of understood why Force Awakens was a lot like New Hope, because after, dropping the ball so hard with the prequel trilogy, they're like, yeah, we got to give people what they want. And,
But you're,
I
but
will
you're,
take
but
a little
you're.
too much for that than the bullshit that followed.
Okay, so yeah, after the nostalgia trip, they tried something completely new. Thank you, Ryan Johnson, you garbage human being. Uh, with Last Jedi, they tried to go off script. They avoided the groundwork that J.J. Abrams had laid down and went this completely different direction, not playing on your nostalgia, and you saw where that ended up. And then they try to kind of bring it all back, and they tried to force the Emperor back in, and they brought back a couple of past characters like Lando, and I think even Wedge was in there, a whole bunch of people at that very end scene, and that was the selling point, right? They're just pulling your nostalgia back in, and they're going to make their money. Of course they are, but it's not right to do it. Why not just create something completely new? Because are they afraid that Star Wars, a worldwide property, a multiple billion-dollar industry company, or no, what would it be? A multiple billion-dollar property is going to fail? I do not think so. But they took the safe bet, which kind of confused me. Like, you have all, the expanded universe, they collapsed. Once Disney bought them, the expanded universe, the EU is dead. Okay. And they had so many good stories in there. A lot of people would, refer to the, what is it, the Thorn trilogy, and they would refer to Shadows of the Empire. And why not just do something like that? Why would they just go on and just rape our nostalgia the way they did?
I mean, obviously, a lot of the Star Wars is just a mess. But it's, sticking with the nostalgia thing, it's not just Star Wars. Like now, it's either like they remake the movie word for word, or they'll make something like Black Christmas where they just take the name and do what the hell ever. But like, it's
That played on my nostalgia twice,
oh,
twice, bro.
I like the first remake.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like the first remake. That was actually decent. We said it on past episodes is that we saw Black Christmas on Christmas, kind of awesome. Not the new Black Christmas, no, avoid that like the fucking plague. But the previous remake was pretty decent. I think that one played on the heartstrings, nostalgia strings, as I'm gonna call it. Yeah, go ahead.
Weird. It's just it's so weird that I like nostalgia and I get what it's there for and I get that it brings you in and I get you want that safe bet,
Yeah, it
but
makes you can
I
feel it. You can feel nostalgia down in your plums.
you it's just weird that we've gotten to the point where it's like we want that nostalgia so much, especially in Hollywood, which is
Mhm.
why I mostly watch foreign cinema these days. Mostly, I still watch everything, but it's like they're afraid to try anything new, even when it's something generic.
Mhm.
Like, let's just do this. Yeah, but it's kind of terrible. Well, yeah, but nobody knows the name of this movie, so they won't go see it. Have you tried just making a good movie? Nah, yeah, no. We need a name. We need that. We need something, and it's everywhere now. It's so weird how the nostalgia thing has just become
The
it's
norm,
either
yeah, become the norm. Like, okay, we're gonna play the safe bet. We're gonna just remake this or redo this, and it just it
it's
irks the shit out of me. Like, I say it all the time, and I say it on the show, and I say it off the show. Is that Hollywood has run dry on original ideas, and the very few that do, they don't make the popularity of, like, say, a Star Wars or a Jungle Book or a Lion King or whatever. And it's sad, but that's the
it is.
reality that we live in, dude. Like, the well has run dry.
You know how it's ran dry is I read today. It might have been yesterday. I'm not sure. They're remaking a nothing movie that I really enjoyed. And it's
Ooh,
been made
what
around.
was it Dark City? Oh,
No,
please tell me it was Dark City. Oh,
they're
damn.
they're people want to remake. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
Go
Why?
on.
Like, I mean, I like the movie, and it is a very quirky, very '90s kind of film, and it's kind of like I get like you like the premise, so why not do a new movie that's like that? Why that? And like I just I don't see how you could really do it justice. And as much as I enjoy the film, I'm also kind of thinking like, yeah, it wasn't like the story was that amazing. You could tell the exact same movie, just call it something else. Like why do you want to remake it? Just make a new movie. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I
S-
remember when they were talking about remaking Big Trouble in Little China. And for those that don't know, and it's your first time checking this out, Big Trouble in Little China is a very important movie to not just me, but my co-host here, who it is his absolute favorite film in all of history. So, I mean, if they were to remake that, and they were going to do it with The Rock, and The Rock is quality. I do enjoy The Rock. I'm not going to lie, but there's
I
something. There are
I
some things in this world that you just don't fuck with.
I I would rather them take the mythology almost like the comic series, which first arc is actually pretty good. Second, not so much. But I'd rather them take the mythology, like bring back the three storms and have The Rock be another character. And I'd rather it be, if anything, like just another incident that happens in Chinatown with the mythos and
Mm-hmm.
not involve the characters. Kind of like the Jumanji thing. I would mind something like that. Like I wouldn't mind an adventure with, you got the gangs and the three storms and the demons and all that stuff,
Right.
but not any of the other guys that have moved on. I mean, it's been so long now. Like, I'd rather you just not. I mean, honestly, I'd rather you just not make a sequel at all. But if you're going to do it, either do like something like that where it's not related, or you know what, do an animated one. That way, all the
Ooh.
actors can come back and voice act it, and you could do that really cool first arc from the comic series that I really liked. About the road, and you find out that Lopan is in the hell of people that were killed by stupid people,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of like nostalgia, but fun. You find out that the demon that was in the back of Jack's truck, he was actually his friend. Now that master, once Lopan is dead, he is now his property. They were kind of hanging out, and it was like this really cool idea of something new and something you like. And I'd rather them do something animated like that, where they could use the original voice actors because they're mostly still alive, or do an unrelated sequel. But instead, more than likely, even though The Rock wasn't involved, and in The Rock's 50-50. I love The Rock, but come on. If you've watched Baywatch or you've watched Skyscraper, he's 50-50. He does do bad movies too. And this would just be a cranked out, soulless freaking sequel or remake, and you know it.
Fucking Baywatch.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. Like they took it, and I wasn't even a fan of the show. Like I didn't really give a shit about Baywatch, but you took that show, remade it into a movie with The Rock, and it was just this.
I mean,
Yeah,
how many people do you hear talking about Baywatch? I mean, it was
yeah,
it was like a hot show for like 2 or 3 years, maybe. You had David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson in her goddamn prime. Whoa.
yeah, but everybody's moved. Nobody's thinking about that anymore. And it was just kind of like, is it just any name that has a little bit of weight to it? You're like, fuck it, let's do this again.
And you know what? It's not just movies, dude. Like TV shows. You know, you got Saved by the Bell coming back in a couple of months. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, when is the last time you had a decent conversation about Saved by the fucking Bell? I love Saved by the Bell. There are episodes that I can still do word for word, and I will still sing. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it.
I'm so excited! I'm so excited! I'm so scared!
But why?
I don't want a new series. I thought it was fine the way it did. They went to college, they did their thing, and then it ended, and I'm fine with that. But now we have, and then after that, they had the new class, okay? And nobody fucking remembers the new class. Nobody remembers one fucking person that was on the goddamn new class. But here we are, like 20 some odd years later, and they're like, okay, Saved by the Bell is coming back. Ooh. They brought back Fuller fucking House. Why?
And that's right there is just, to me, more example. Why? I mean, are the characters you're really wondering, especially Saved by the Bell? I didn't watch the show, but like, you're telling me you can't find any other show that's about high school people that scratches that itch? Like, you can't make a new one? Like, you got to go back to that?
Yeah, it's called Riverdale. So you were talking about Jumanji and The Rock, and you know they did something completely different, and that's smart. Like I'm fine with that if you want to go on a new adventure, but to remake shit word for word is just completely nauseating to me.
Well, I mean, Jumanji's another one of those good examples. They took the base idea, so the game evolved, and they found a different way for the game to work, but it's still technically a sequel. But you don't need anybody else from the original, and you could make a good story, and it can stand on its own. And I don't mind when they do that. Got a cool idea. It's very interesting. The movie to me isn't like the most mind blowing, but it was good. It was enjoyable, so that was enough.
But what lures you in is the name.
Honestly, it's actually, for me, it's sort of kind of backfired. Now, if you have an interesting trailer, whether remake or not, if you interest me in the trailer, I'll watch the movie. Theater, I'll see it some way or another. But I've gotten so used to remakes and just disappointing uses of properties I like. I hear names like they redid The Stand, which was one of the miniseries I really, really liked. And when I found out
failed ending, by the way, failed ending.
Well, yeah, the ending did suck, but
Yeah.
up to that, it's actually pretty good. And I found out they're doing a new one, and I saw some of the cast, and that's just a long line of things where I don't even care. Like if it looks okay when I actually see a trailer, maybe I'll check it out. But I'm so used to these bastardized, lazy versions of things that I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like it doesn't even pique my interest anymore.
I'm personally hoping that they do the Langoliers. That's just me because I go back and I watch the Langoliers and I see that shitty ass PS1 graphics chomper teeth looking thing just floating around. It kills me every time. Like it's such a good story, but then you see that shitty ass graphic. I'm like, just remake this shit.
Yeah, I mean,
there are exceptions to the rule.
The thing I like about them doing Stephen King movie stuff though is that the one good thing really is that almost all of his popular ones were oddly enough made for TV movies. So it is kind of cool to see them get, better releases where it's more horror, like because I think of Stephen King and I think of just Rose Red and Storm of the Century, The Stand, Langoliers, which are good movies, but none of them are, to me, were particularly scary. They're TV movies. You're like, I mean, it was interesting and it was cool, and but I'm glad to see them updated and actually given that horror vibe, and hopefully never, ever, ever do anything like the It Chapter 2 again, and continue to make good movies.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they never, ever, 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 ever touch Misery, because that would really just crush my spirit, because that's my favorite Stephen King adaptation. And
that's a great flick.
Oh my god, it's so cringy. I mean, not in like a bad way, not like, ugh, but like just it's like gets under your skin, man. And
the thing I liked about it is it was out of all of Stephen King's thing, it was so plausible. Like, yeah, obviously it worked out that there was a snowstorm. But her capturing him, pretending to be nice, the Uber fan thing, like that shit, if we lived in a better world, I would say would be the perfect thing to remake, because now you have, even more of that, people stalking fans, and with technology they know where they're at, and not fans, but fans stalking the celebrities and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
And
especially
it-
now in the technical age of social media. Jesus Christ.
yeah, like they could do it really well, but that's not the way I feel it would go. They just, I don't know. It's like there's still some really good movies out there. I'm not gonna say there's not. There are some really, really good ones. But
Before
more often than not, when it comes to these remakes, it's like they get the name and they do just enough to make some cool scenes for the trailer. Like most of them are fairly forgettable. You watch them, and even the ones you like, you're like, cool, and moving on. Like, you know,
and sometimes it really feels like they're not putting a whole lot of effort into it. Like, oh, it's gonna make money. Sorry. Oh, it's gonna make money based on the name alone, and we'll break even or we'll make just a little bit more than what we spent on making it. That's kind of what it feels. It feels half-assed to me sometimes.
it really does. And the weird thing is with effort, obviously nostalgia works. You've
Mhm.
seen Ready Player One, you've seen the overly, overly fantastic Cobra Kai. That took a franchise everybody knows, Karate Kid. Now it's coming at you
Yeah,
from the bad guy's point of
and
view,
it
and
wasn't called Karate Kid, and I
no,
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I was actually impressed at the fact that it is just Cobra Kai. It's not Cobra Kai, a Karate Kid story. They
Hmm.
figured out we'll call it Cobra Kai, and most people aren't freaking stupid. They get it. They don't need it spelled out. And that to me was one of the best uses of nostalgia. They used a clip of Mr. Miyagi that you see Daniel, you see these little nods to the movie, but the property and story is done so well. That's a great example of how to do it right. That's one of the best shows I've seen the last couple of years. Not to say it's perfect. There's
I,
Daniel's
I couldn't tell you
thought.
any show that's absolutely perfect. Like I find flaws in everything. Stargate, X Files. I find holes in everything, man. Even Married with Children, even comedies. Like I find holes in them. Oh, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for them to remake Married with Children. I wonder how that would do in today's world. In
Uh,
America
Thank you,
here.
but there's no way. There's no way they could ever make that show, because everybody's got to make shows that check boxes, not
Hmm.
shows that are good or that you feel is funny and other like-minded people would enjoy. Nah, we can't really do that too much anymore.
Yeah, it
Not
kind of makes me like we were talking about Misery, and then I'm thinking of like him getting his fucking feet smashed, and I'm like, how would they pull that off today? Would they do a quick cut? Just pull away from it. I don't know how they would pull that scene off. Maybe skip it completely. Maybe just break a finger, or I don't know. I don't think they go for it anymore, man. Like you saw The Grudge, the new one, right? I mean, that's
uh,
a remake of a remake. Like,
actually, that's technically a sequel.
get the fuck out of here. Was
I
it?
swear. Yeah, it's technically a sequel,
Oh.
but it's
Right. So that's just getting you in the nostalgia feels. And I
I
think that there's a proper way to do nostalgia. I honestly believe that it's not all bad. And some people even say that nostalgia is technically a mental illness. I actually read an article on it, like some Harvard dude or Yale or some doctor somewhere. I don't know. I read the article like a year ago. I can't quote this shit verbatim, but he had pretty much done studies to prove that nostalgia was a mental illness. And you know what? If it is, then you know what? I don't
I
want
mean,
the cure, honestly.
I I think it can be when nostalgia is all you got, when you can't accept anything new.
Bro,
I
have you
definitely
seen my
do.
fucking tattoos? Jesus Christ, I live in the nostalgia pool.
I'm just saying, new stuff is not. It's not bad. It's just I hate the fact that we can't. It's just not like it used to be. I hate the fact that we can't, like, okay, all these work, and these why these created these great feelings. Let's make a movie that hits these beats. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of work. Let's just take the characters and universe that's already established, and we'll just remake it. And if nothing else, people will go see it for the name. And I hate the fact that that's come from nostalgia. I hate the fact that it's sort of made people lazy.
Right. Because it's gonna make money off the name, of course. It's almost like
I
we're
mean,
talking circles. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's if okay, say for instance, they remake Beetlejuice, okay, a movie that again, just like Big Trouble in Little China, should never ever be touched. But eventually they will. Uh, but if they remade Beetlejuice, it would make money based off of the name alone. Everybody
Yeah.
knows Beetlejuice. Especially when we were kids. Jesus Christ, that was a fucking movie, great movie, one of the best movies ever, at least for me. And then it had a cartoon show, and it had toys, and it had all this other stuff. So when people bring up Beetlejuice, it gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling.
I mean, that's just how they get you. It's so hard not to like you said, not to go in circles with it, but it's just one of those things where it's like it's not going to go away, and you don't want it to go away.
No, it's not going to go away because they made money off of it. Money is
I
what
just
creativity is not what drives Hollywood anymore. It's nostalgia, or it's a remake, or it's whatever. The well has run dry, my friend. Plain and simple. It's a fucking
I
joke.
I will say mostly. I've seen a few winners over the past couple of years, but mostly, yeah. It's weird. It's such a weird thing that it's just they can't keep both. We need to get back to that balance of you have your nostalgia, but not so much that you can't be creative.
Once in a while is fine, but it seems like every trailer that I see these days, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's this. We're bringing it back. The fuck. The next thing you're gonna tell me is that they're gonna do another season of I don't even know, fucking know, Toxic Crusader. Remember that
Give
show? Yeah, give it time. Exactly. It's nauseating. I just want something new. And I think that the fucking reason that we stay in Nostalgiaville is because there is nothing new. So we have to go back to the pool.
I mean, there's very little. Like for me, I'll come across something new and be like, "Yo, that's really good," and then there'll be so many other things like, "All right, this looks interesting." Nah, it's crap. Nah, it's all right. You know what? I'm just gonna go back to my show.
Exactly. It's funny.
And
And there's a couple of good shows out there right now. You got your Rick and Morty's and What We Do in the Shadows and stuff like that. I mean, it's all good. But like at the end, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch X-Files again because I want to watch something good that I know 100% in my heart is good.
or another thing is staying good, as we talked about before. That's the other trend. Yeah, yeah. This show makes way too much money. It's not good anymore. Doesn't matter. Just keep running it.
Oh, you mean like the Arrowverse? How that's still going, right?
I mean, like the Arrowverse. I mean, like Supernatural. I mean, like The Walking Dead. Yeah, there's a few good bits in all those shows here and there, but overall, everybody I know personally who watches them is like, it's kind of meh now, but yeah, I've been
Right.
watching it so long.
Right, but at least they tried something new. Supernatural didn't rely on nostalgia. I mean, yeah, it had werewolves and vampires and demons and gods and devils and all that shit. Yeah, it relied on those type of things, but it was for the most part the Van Helsing brothers essentially, and it was like an original thing. I mean, it wasn't. They tried.
It
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 just
was
ran too fucking long.
yeah, it was good till the story ran out. They're like, okay, we told the story I intended to tell. I'm done now. Yeah, but here's money. I could tell a bit more.
Yeah,
And
and
that,
they did try to branch off, and you know what they did? What did Jensen Ankles and other guy, I cannot remember his
Jared
name.
Padalecki.
Ah, that's the one. Those dudes went off while filming Supernatural to film what? Remakes that hit you in the nostalgia. One did Friday the 13th. The other went and did My Bloody Valentine. But My
Yeah,
Bloody Valentine, although, I did rewatch it and I like it less than when I initially watched it back in 2009.
I
Not
still
much of
enjoy it though. I still enjoy it, but I don't like it as much. Friday the 13th, I still love, and everybody who does not like that movie, come on. If you like Friday the 13th, you should like that movie. There's a little bit of craziness, like his tunnels, but come on. That everything I wanted was there. Kills are great. It hit all the right beats. Like I don't get the problem. for
But
that
did
one.
it? But did it hit you in the nostalgia feels when you saw Sackhead Jason running up on them kids and killing them kids? How'd you feel about that? I mean, were you tickled?
I was having a good time, yeah.
This
Oh,
is
it was a great party, sir. I do remember a certain individual standing and applauding at the title sequence. You got a
that was
mini flash
me. That was
before.
me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's fucking great. Yeah, it hit me
That's
in the damn nostalgia feels, and you know what? I felt that shit in my plums, and I stood up and applauded.
that's because
Little did you know I had to adjust my nuts.
that's how you actually use nostalgia. You take this franchise that people are very nostalgic about,
Mhm.
and you take a lot of the key moments, but they still work some originality into it, and
I don't
bam.
know about key moments though.
Dude, they got his mom, they got the sack. Like as far as important events from the first three movies, as important as they can be, and and something like that, they got it. Like okay, there's the mom, cool, she's there. There's the sack, there's the mask, there's the giant weed plantation. Oh wait, that's new. It's all there.
Oh wait, we forgot to throw titties in here, and she had perfect nipple placement.
Exactly, but I mean that's what I liked about that movie. So Friday the 13th remake, you
Mhm.
got you got the mask, you got the kills, you got
Got
the camp, you got everything you want. And
mhm.
then look at that bastard ass, and I know we've already won to this well, but then you look at Black Christmas, and it's like you took the name, but you didn't take the parts of the story that people liked. You didn't get the tone of that movie right. You got
Absolutely not.
nothing
Not
right.
even close. Not even close to the remake, dude. Like the first remake didn't really capture the original either, but
But the
this one,
original
whew,
and the remake were R-rated slashers.
unless you
Or
get the prom night remake and then it's PG-13 with CG blood.
Oh, I remember it had no blood. That was the weird part. There was no
What?
blood in it. Yeah,
No.
yeah, it had none. That was the weird part. You'd see the bodies, and it all looked like Dexter just got there. There was no
I,
blood. They were all
I
just
thought
rat
it
meat.
had I thought it had CG blood.
No, that was
I've been fooled.
which one was that one? I'll come back
Uh
to it.
yeah, some awful remake that we probably watched.
It's
Playing
just
on the nostalgia. I swear to God, we're gonna start playing a drinking game every time we say the word nostalgia. But before that, we're gonna take a break and we will be right back. All right, and we're back. And if you're just now joining us, we are the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and we've been discussing nostalgia and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mostly the ugly, but yeah, Sean, you want to pull a good one out of your ass? Maybe give the people some hope that nostalgia is for the better and not for the worst in Hollywood or TV.
I mean, I gave them Cobra Kai. Love
Okay,
that shit.
there's one example. I mean, you gave them Ready Player One, right? Exceptional film, and
Y-
then
You know what?
you gave them Cobra Kai. So you gave them a movie and a TV.
I could do one other movie. And some people might disagree, but I actually really, personally, I really enjoyed Doctor Sleep. I thought it was kind of cool to see the throwbacks to The Shining, even though I do feel the Overlook was done a little weird in the end. But I'm sure they worked with the pitiful budget they probably had.
Yeah, but
But
the trailer was a fucking lie, though, dude, because they really built up that they're going back to the Overlook. Like the
true,
entire trailer. And then you get into the fucking movie, and we watched the extended cut, and it was fucking 3 hours, and they don't get there until the last like 20 minutes. It's like, what the fuck, you
but
goddamn liars. You got me, you sons of bitches.
the weird thing is about Doctor Sleep, and I actually, like I said, I really enjoyed Doctor Sleep, even though they did totally pull a fast one. But I enjoyed the story. But this was one of the few times where I was kind of like, why isn't this on Netflix or Hulu? Why isn't this a TV series? Because when they
Mhm.
introduce the girl with the hat, I can't think of her name currently, the hat
Hippie
chick,
chick.
yeah, the main bad guy and her
Fucking Stevie Nicks. There you go. It's Stevie
people.
Nicks.
I just, to me, that I found it interesting to see more of this world, more about the people that have the shining, more of the different ghosts and these cool
Mhm.
demons and how they They sort of drink fear and all these things. And this was just one of those examples where I was sitting back going, this should be a TV series because I'm actually really interested in the world they built.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just think that's one of those really great examples where they took something from nostalgia. And I get it, it's a book, it's a sequel to that, no, that whatever. But still, like they took it and they made this great film out of it. It's like, hey, remember this stuff, but here's also plenty of new material and new stories and new characters and a new mythos almost to get you really interested in things outside the Overlook.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish it was a TV series. I would have liked to see more about the cult. I wouldn't mind seeing, flashbacks and different things. I thought there was a lot of potential in that, and then the world they built. So I definitely thought that was one of the better examples I've seen recently.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, you gave a positive, and since most people in the Geek World All Stars call me EightBitRay instead of 8BitRay, I'm gonna go with a negative because that's kind of my shtick. It's kind of what I do. So, if you ever check out the show in our archives, you can check out the Bits of Rage episodes, and you'll get the full force of my fury. But the Scream franchise, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Just hang with me here, man. Jesus Christ. So Scream, okay, you made Scream, great movie. Scream 2, Scream 3. You even went as far as going to Scream 4. Now they're talking about Scream 5. And there is such thing as horror overkill for a franchise. Okay. I'm sorry, but Friday the 13th, a lot of the later movies just weren't for me. Nightmare on Elm Street, same deal. Child's Play. I mean, you name it. There is horror fatigue in a franchise. And then you have a Scream TV show running still currently 3 seasons in or 4. Shit.
What you doing, son? Nothing. Just chilling. Killing. True.
if
I
that
mean,
got canceled. Is that really still going with that crappy ass looking mask and everything?
no, they actually brought back Ghostface in season 2 or 3. I can't remember which. I never watched it. I watched the first season, which looked like the Valentine mask from the movie
Is that
Valentine.
what- I thought the mask from the first one kind of resembled more of like a blow up doll, but whatever. The show looked
Now would that be the blow up doll from Super Troopers, like Ursula? Or
Yeah.
okay.
Look at the
'Cause
mask.
I've never looked at a blow up doll's face.
I mean, first of all, I had no interest in the series. It looked dumb. I think I watched a little bit of the first episode, then had to pass. And then, so even the movies, I like Scream 1.
Mm-hmm.
I like Scream 2 a lot. I can't stay awake through 3, as I've proven at your house just last week, or
Yeah,
about 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I felt we watched it together, and yeah, we both nodded out. So Scream is a big thumbs down.
It's almost every time, and I did like 4.
Yes!
I think it was hurt by the fact of obviously the Arquettes having a falling out. It really fucked with the story. So then they're supposed to be falling back in love, but they're clearly done with each other. So you're like,
Right.
yeah, everybody can tell this though. You two aren't nearly good enough actors to pull that off.
Right.
But I mean, even at that, so it was okay, and it even made sense. So part 4 dealt with the remake thing, so it was kind of like, okay, one more little hurrah. I get it. You had your trilogy, which all followed all those bases, and then you had your remake. Okay, and honestly, for me, I was kind of like, I'm good enough. I'm good with Scream. I don't like. I'm fine. I don't want more of that. Like I'm good.
In all honesty, though, they could have ended it at 1. I thought 1 ended on a proper finish, like bravo, one shot. And so
Well, I'm sure that was the original plan, but that money.
Money driving Hollywood since the dawn of time. Greed is the killer of creativity.
The weird thing is, though, with something like Scream, I don't want anymore. But with something like, say, Final Destination, I'm fine with making 100 of those because it fits. The killer's death, who's constant. You don't need the same cast. You don't need the same actress. And you could tell really any kind of story you want. Or really,
Yeah,
I mean, long as you're...
a lot of them movies were the exact same, except with different plot points. Like they were the exact fucking same story.
Well, that's why sometimes that's kind of what I want. Like For Friday the 13th, I want to watch Jason off a bunch of teenagers.
No, I get it, dude. I get it, dude.
I want
It's like
that
it's
kind of thing.
right. Like I get it. Like when Iron Maiden drops a new album, okay, you know damn well it's gonna be the exact same album, but that's what you want. But that's what you expect. So I can see what you're saying about Final Destination.
When it comes to like certain franchises, that's what I want. When I want a Friday the 13th movie, that's just what I want. You don't got to get too nuts with it. Hell, maybe it's snowing this time. I don't know. Maybe it's raining. I don't care. Basically, I want that. But something like Scream, where you're trying to put a message in it. It's supposed to be smart horror, if that's what they call it. There's more of a message behind it. I kind of felt like.
Oh, you mean like Black Christmas? Oh,
Ugh.
that movie had a good fuck of a message, didn't it?
But like with Scream, it's the killer was already offed. Part 2 was different killers. Part 3 was different killers. Part 4 was good. But because of how they did it, I'm good with it. Like I don't want any more Scream movies. You want to make some more Freddy, Jason, that's fine. Michael Myers, I don't give a shit. But for that, I don't want any more Scream. I'm good.
Is it we're gonna get back to the nostalgia thing, but we're gonna pull it back in. Don't worry. We get into the weeds sometimes on this show, so bear with us. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. But is it because Ghostface isn't a supernatural killer, like he's just a human stalker slasher kind of guy? I mean
that's part of it, but it's also like if you want to tell a slasher, maybe like do maybe a spin-off, like a different killer, like he was inspired by Ghostface and his imitators or their imitate, whatever you want to say.
That was Scream 2.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like a different, but they still were the Ghostface thing though. Like
It's
I'd
true.
rather just have another killer in maybe that universe. Like, okay, he was inspired by that, and then go in that direction. Like that would be fine. But they're just gonna do somebody else has some sort of trope they want to pull out, and they're gonna wear the same Ghostface thing. It was their thing and those other guys' thing, and it just feels like for 4 different incidents where different people were the same moniker of that other killer, it just kind of seems silly to me in their universe. I'd rather they just get a different killer that exists in the same universe. Like you still call it Scream, but don't use Ghostface. Like I would rather see that because it's just kind of like
They
it's
tried that. It was
silly.
called Scream the Series.
Oh, yeah, but do it in a movie and do it right, not whatever borderline CW trash that was. Even though
They
it was
tried that. It was called Black Christmas.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're not gonna get away from Black Christmas in this episode, buddy. No matter how hard we try.
It's so hard because that movie sucks so bad. That movie is the shining example of bad nostalgia. People like that name. You know how I know this? Because when I heard that Blumhouse was making a Black Christmas remake, I was like, "Oh
Dude,
shit!"
all those motherfucking Jordan Peele, dude. Like that's all he knows how to do. Like, yeah, he did what was it, Get It Out, and he did the other one, and those were kind of original stories in a way. But I mean, really, it's just Blumhouse is just nothing but nostalgia rapist.
That's what they've become. When they first started, because I do remember for a minute, I would see that name and be like, okay, well, these are pretty good. These are like the new name of horror. When you see Blumhouse, you know you're in for a good time usually.
Right.
And then lately, I'm like, God damn, they do everything, and it's half-assed, and I can't really think of anything they've done recently where I've been blown away.
And they've also been inserting social agendas in their films, and that's been kind of turning me off because when I watch a movie, I go to get away from reality, not to be thrown back into it. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind once in a while, but sometimes I just want to see some, especially horror. I just want to see some stupid people do some dumb shit and get killed for it. I don't need to be told about how shitty the economy is and the environment, all this message just shit, right?
Yes, and titties. Yes.
Death and titties, like horror used to be.
But to get back to nostalgia, man, well, I mean, what else can you honestly say about nostalgia and how it's a blessing and a curse in Hollywood? I mean, yeah, there's good properties and they do good jobs with it sometimes, and then sometimes you get fucking Black Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know it's just hard not to talk in circles, but it's weird that we've come to the point where, between the throwbacks and the remakes and the reimaginings, I hear these names and I unless there's a good trailer or something to hook me, when I hear the names, I don't even care or get excited anymore. Oh, they're remaking this? Whatever. Of course they
Yeah,
are.
I'll say it when I see the trailer. Yeah, I know how that
Yeah,
goes.
I mean, the only exception to this whole rule right now that I'm really excited about, and there's not a lot to it yet, is Dune, and that's just because I like the overall story, and I like Josh Brolin, so I'm like, I'm
Oh,
really excited
Jesus
for that.
Christ. Dude, I thought you said Doom.
No,
I'm like,
Dune.
God, they fucking made a sequel. It was called Doom Annihilation, and it did not play on my nostalgia feels whatsoever. Not even
Uh,
close. Not even close.
no. Yeah, that movie was
That's
terrible.
bad nostalgia.
TV. Oh shit! First cops, now this. Oh man, I'm be a star, son.